what we're hearing about the Cubs' confident pitching plans for the trade deadline. The Athletic has live coverage of the 2026 MLB Trade Deadline. Trade Deadline, the Chicago Cubs intend to acquire multiple pitchers, aiming to reinforce the staff as a whole for a potential World Series run. This snapshot is based on information from team and league sources, who spoke on the condition of anonymity to candidly discuss the state of an evolving market. Advertisement, the same logic that led the Cubs to acquire David Peterson from the New York Mets in late June, applies to their ongoing interest in Clay Holmes, a ground ball pitcher nearly ready to return from a fractured fibula, as well as Freddy Peralta, who enjoys a strong relationship with Chicago manager Craig Counsell from their time together with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Tired of spending forever chopping vegetables? This all-in-one prep tool dices and spiralizes ingredients directly into a handy container, helping make salads, sides, and meal prep faster and less messy. Want to get the best verified deal and see full details? Visit grabdeal.us/2 right now.
If the Cubs don't splurge on the rotation, they could go big with a bullpen addition or two. Adrian Morjan, Luke Weaver, and Jeff Hoffman are among those under consideration to move the needle. The theme here is Chicago's elite defense and the organization's confidence in its ability to look beyond the surface-level statistics. Kevin Gausman's 4.38 ERA with the Toronto Blue Jays this season is not all that attractive, but his strikeout rate, 23.9%, and walk rate, 6.8%, are hardly different from last season's performance on an American League pennant winner. Gausman's pitch mix, four-seamer, splitter, and slider, remains the same as years past. His fastball velocity, while a half-tick down from 2025, is no different than 2024, when he had a 3.83 ERA over 181 innings. That workload is also something the Cubs could count on from Gausman, 35, who has expressed a preference to finish this season in Toronto before becoming a free agent. Gausman is averaging nearly 5.23 innings per start. Adding that length to the rotation, along with continued momentum from Shota Imanaga and Matthew Boyd, should take a significant amount of stress off the bullpen. The Cubs can also use a historical reference with Gausman, who posted a 2.93 ERA in 6 playoff games, 5 starts. Last year, including 2 quality starts against the Los Angeles Dodgers in the World Series. In hindsight, the Cubs should have pushed harder during the 2017 season to add Justin Verlander when they were defending World Series champs. Instead, he moved from the Detroit Tigers to the Houston Astros and enhanced his Hall of Fame caliber resume. Advertisement, that missed opportunity, left a deep impression on Jed Hoyer, Chicago's general manager at the time and its current president of baseball operations. The Cubs didn't make the same mistake when the Texas Rangers made Clay Holmes and his 4.72 ERA available ahead of the 2018 trade deadline. With the Clay Holmes deal, I learned a lesson on Justin Verlander, Hoyer said during an extended interview last summer. Whenever a player of that age has declining stuff, it's hard to know. And then he went to Houston and immediately his stuff ticked up. What is age? It could also be, I'm frustrated in this bad situation right now. The next year with Clay Holmes, we didn't overthink it. He was struggling and we went and got him. It felt like literally the minute he put our uniform on, he was dominant. That is a little bit of the human factor. You can go pretty poor making that bet over and over. But there are times when that can make sense with a veteran guy with that kind of track record. In a limited market for starting pitchers under club control beyond this year, the Los Angeles hold 2 who have drawn interest from the Cubs, Reed Detmers and Jose Soriano, who was scratched from his scheduled start Saturday ahead of the trade deadline. While both are seen as potential building blocks through 2028, the context of this season and the expectations at Wrigley Field also matter. 10 pick in the 2020 draft has spent his entire professional career in the Angels organization. Soriano, who signed with the Angels as a teenager out of the Dominican Republic, briefly moved to the Pittsburgh Pirates farm system as a Rule 5 selection, but otherwise has only pitched for the Angels. a franchise that last won a playoff game in 2009 and now appears headed toward its 11th consecutive losing season. That does not mean Detmers or Soriano could not thrive in Chicago, but the experience gaps are noticeable as the Cubs try to find the finishing pieces for a roster that, right now, is probably not deep or skilled enough to win 4 postseason rounds. Advertisement, the volume of pitching the Cubs want to add before the deadline, is both a hedge against further injuries and a reward for the group's success despite adversity. Cade Horton returned to Wrigley Field this weekend to get a little break from Arizona, Counsell said, as his recovery process from season-ending surgery on his right elbow continues. Edward Cabrera remains on schedule for 2 more rehab starts after showing some expected signs of rust in Friday's outing with AAA Iowa, which came nearly 6 weeks after he went on the injured list with a left hamstring adductor strain. The club is still determining when and where Daniel Palancia will pitch in a minor league game, but that is the next step as the hard-throwing reliever works his way back from right elbow inflammation. In a smoother version of this season, the debate would likely focus on whether Horton, 7.13 innings pitched, or Cabrera, 5.1 era, should start Game 1 of a playoff series. Palancia would have established himself as one of the sport's top closers, and the Cubs wouldn't have needed to set a franchise record with 13 pitchers recording at least 1 save. But that's not how the year has unfolded, and the list of injured arms has expanded to include pitchers Justin Steele, Ben Brown, Hunter Harvey, and Hobie Milner. Every team has issues, but how the Cubs managed what could have been a pitching disaster is a credit to the organization and a positive indicator for October. It's the story of what our coaching staff has done. Most important, it's the story of the guys in this clubhouse and the guys that are also in the Iowa clubhouse that have filled roles and gone out there and stepped up. Guys have been called on to take on bigger roles, and they've answered. It's the story of the season to be where we are as one of the top teams in baseball. It speaks to the character and the willingness of guys to step up in this clubhouse and go do what needs to be done.